Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to all people who were here, who organized the conference, and who participated and made this conference possible. It was a very warm welcome, and it's obvious from this hall. If you were in the United States, you will freeze to death by the air conditioning. But my topic, a quick note. You may hear SMOs in my presentation, and in fact it is the short form of social movement organizations, and they are basically institutions established to promote or to provide services in line with the understanding of objectives of any movement. So sometimes you may hear them as civil society organizations or even NGOs. But from the perspectives or framework of sociology of social movements, we will keep on with SMOs. So my topic today is how Gülen movement mobilizes. I'll start with a look at what types of institutions and social movement organizations the participants typically set up, and how the institutions are governed. And then I'll move on to talk briefly the diffusion of the movement. Our first questions about the organization of the Gülen movement concern the field of activity. So, how can the social movement organizations of the Gülen movement be categorized? The movement focuses on education, health, media, publication, ethical finance, and humanitarian aid and relief. It had no political wing, party, or umbrella organization. Okay, so do the social movement organizations provide paid services for member clients? The answer to this is yes and no. The social movement organizations work on the open and competitive market. Some of them are charity-based foundations, while others have become market-oriented. But the intention is not profit-making. Rather, they intend to provide quality services and answer, in the best way, the needs of people from all walks of life. So, they are not, in the classical sense, commercial organizations. Now let's consider how the institutions and social movement organizations are governed from the perspectives of leadership, decentralization, and accountability. First of all, is there central leadership of the movement as a whole? To my colleagues' observation, no. In practice, leadership of the movement is decentralized. The different components of the movement have great autonomy. As a result, often several different social movement organizations are active in the same field of activity in the same geographic region. And those who visited schools or other institutions, they know that there are schools in the European side, there are schools in the, let's say, in Istanbul, Asian side. They are just run by different charities and foundations. Or if you consider the United States, there are several dialogue organizations, and they are just miles and states away from one another, and they have no direct, organic relationship. Perhaps the most commonly asked question about the movement is, what exactly is the role of Fethullah Gülen? In fact, Gülen has repeatedly expressed his reluctance and even his detestation of any leadership, whether communal, religious, or political. He argues, I'm quoting, single-person leadership is no longer viable, as everything has become so detailed, particularized, specified, and enumerated. Tasks now assume such forms that even unique, outstanding individuals cannot accomplish them by themselves. That is why the place of genius has now been replaced by the collective consciousness with consultative and collective decision-making. End of the quote. So, does Gülen intervene directly in service networks or projects? No, he doesn't. Rather than direct personal intervention, it is Gülen's intellectual and moral influence that is felt within the movement. His relationship with the movement is one of inspiration. This contrasts with centralized organizations where power resides in a single leader or a central community.